the reasons that Malcolm does that is he has this audio production team alongside of him that he has working for him that is outstanding. I mean, they are really, really good. And listen, I worked at the highest levels of radio as well. And I mean, I worked on a broadcast that in 2008 was inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. We beat out Dr. Laura, we beat out Bob Costas, and we beat out the king of radio, Howard Stern. And then I left with that founder to go help start what became the largest rollout in radio history. So I've won major broadcasting awards. I know this business. Malcolm's team is really, really talented. But here's the thing, the thesaurus.
Well, yeah, Ed Caldwell wrote a book with me, and he taught me the English language. It was World Power. And he picked 300 words that you really should adopt and add into your lexicon, add into your business vocabulary, because it helps you communicate more clear, but it also lets people know that you are somewhat educated. Yeah. And that's going to be a great book to reference so that you get more bang for the buck with your service.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, if
I mean, it's night and day different. And it's one of the reasons why a number of people I know, I mean, I've heard Joe Rogan say a whole bunch. I never listen to an audiobook unless it's read by the author.
Yeah, and there's idioms and slang and just things that I think would not fit an AI conversation with the reader. I mean, that is what the Audible person that you are is doing. You're making a conversation feel like a conversation with the reader, and I don't think that's achieved, to your point. So I'm excited about you bringing on other guests that we share how much of a difference their life was when they didn't have a book. Then when they had the book and they married it with an Audible, and then they created like a marketing system that all put it together.
Yeah.
That's going to be hot. I do want to close with, I know you're part of the team, and we're moving to a new customized email because we're getting a lot of people asking about Audible, and it'll be audio at Perfect Publishing. Well, welcome again to the Dr. Smiley Show, where we're amplifying goodness and highlighting people that are not only shaping the world, but have some really good ideas on how you can show up even bigger, better, and more impactful. So, Steve, welcome to the show. Steve Reiter. What a great name. I wish my name was Reiter.
Yeah, amazingly, it's a reference to a German infantry unit, actually.
Okay.
It was a badass infantry unit, kind of just post Middle Ages, and there's actually Reiter Alps, a group of mountains in I believe West Germany that I have identified that I definitely want to go hiking.
And you own them? I'm guessing.
No, I could probably stake my name on there, but somebody else probably has it first.
Well, I'm sure everyone's picking up what you're throwing down with your voice because you have a great voice for this.
Well, thank you.
Is that what got you in the business of, I guess, the Audible? What's the industry called?
I started in the radio world back in 1997. So actually, it was a little bit before that, probably. I was taking a break from school because I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do. I wanted to originally be in sports medicine and didn't get into the program, which was unusual for me. School is something I was always very gifted at. And when I didn't get in, I took some time off and like, what do I want to do? And I remembered being in fourth grade, my uncle bought my brothers and I a Fisher-Price cassette recorder, and I would make radio shows with my friends. And I actually have a friend of mine who I grew up with, who I was working in his graphic design shop when I was staying with him in Chicago. And he was like, hey, you remember when we were kids, we used to make radio shows? I think it's funny you're in radio. Then I was in sixth grade, and I hosted a kids news segment at a local radio station. And then my senior year of high school, we were working on a radio spot for the morning announcements in a class. We had a class and we were doing a radio spot for the morning announcements. And I had a classmate who I knew since the first grade. And she said to me, Steve, I've never seen you smile like this before. And I remember those three things during that gap year and a half in college that I was trying to figure out what do I want to do. And I was like, yeah, radio, audio production. That's fun.
Well, you've changed. You've changed our company dramatically. I mean, printed books, holding books is what we're about. Obviously, we love the digital side of it because They're easy to give away. They're easy to have the author get some publicity and also get more reviews. But Audible, I mean, everybody listens to Audible, especially if you're driving and you need some content and you just don't have time to read a book. My son, when I take him when I put him to bed at night, he's turning 12. He still says, "What are we listening to tonight?" So I go on my Audible and I'll pick a new book, or he'll pick a book, and we just listen until he falls asleep. And it's a great experience.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Goodreads actually estimates that in the very near future, and this was a stat that I found last year, they said in the very near future, audiobooks sales are going to surpass ebook and print combined.
I believe it. And it's interesting that they predicted the same thing with digital, and it didn't happen because people still like to hold a book.
Yeah, this is something very different because of
Very-
the explosion of, I mean, this right here, the phone has given us so many opportunities to consume media in places that we never did unless we had a Walkman and we had a handful of cassettes. There you go.
Headway. I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when we were kids, when the Walkman first came out, if you wanted to listen to an audiobook, you had to go to the library and you had to buy this big ass folder of cassettes. And you had to pull a cassette out, stick it in, flip it over, grab the next cassette, and you had to organize all of these things. And it's so much easier now for people to get audiobooks.
Well, and you can change speed. You can, if someone talks, you
Yes.
can, and it goes on hold when the phone call comes in. I mean, all kinds of cool stuff. But you're giving me a lot of credit. When I was growing up, they took rocks and they would chisel the message, and they used different sounds in the rock. You'd know is a verb or not. So, where was this you were speaking of? You were talking about your childhood. Where were you born?
Wisconsin. I grew up in south central Wisconsin, about 30 miles north of Madison.
Okay.
Really, really small town called Partyville. And it's
Well,
Pardeeville, Dee, not
well, that's
Partyville, because whenever I would call when I was a kid and I'd order something on the phone, Partyville, rock on, man.
my nickname in college and Army was Rock On. So obviously, with me getting into radio, I was digging the fact that David Essex, brought that song to the world.
Nice.
So, you're a new facet for us, and I want to talk about. There's certain things that hold an author back. One is marketing. The
Yeah.
other is the other is, in my opinion, that their book may not be something people can fit in their time schedule, especially if the book's too thick. Whereas Audible, there's just no excuse. You can carry it with you on
Yeah.
your phone, as you said, and you can piecemeal it, and it's really handy. Um, I guess I know it changes, and you don't really have to get too committed to numbers, but what's why is it worth doing Audible from an investment side, and what kind of investment do people have to look at?
Yeah. So why is it important? Because audiobook sales for the last 11 years have seen double-digit growth. It's just the
So
way it is.
let
And
me.
there are creative ways to get an audiobook done to separate it from the print and the ebook in terms
Mhm.
of extras that you can throw on at the end of chapters. You can throw on kind of a podcast episode, if you will, at the very end of the book to kind of give some summary thoughts, maybe stuff that was taken out during the editing process. Or you can do what a friend of mine did, and I suggested this to him. He brought in peers and people he looked up to for little mini podcast episodes at the end of every chapter. So that way you brought in an additional voice and perspective to that audiobook and also incentivize them to advertise it to their social media channel and advertise it to their email list. And he saw his book actually make USA Today bestseller list.
That's awesome. You want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, Mike Kim, you are the brand. Mike is the freaking man. I absolutely love him to death. And
Maybe you could bring Mike Kim on the show. So one
yeah,
of the things we were talking about, because this is our first show together, we were talking about the possibility. You've worked with so many cool people, and not all of them have even been with Perfect Publishing, but bringing them in and letting them have some limelight because their Audible is doing well, but also they edify the fact that it changed the game for them. And I want to just speak to David Goggins. His book he did with someone that interviewed him. So
yeah, his
there was
co-author.
interviewing and readability being done, he didn't want to read the book. He wanted someone else to read it, but then they had a discussion about it at the end of each chapter. That
Yeah.
was so dynamic. And
Yeah.
his Audible
Yeah.
book sales went through the roof. And
Yes.
second person I want to speak about is my hero. And by the way, Malcolm, if you're hearing me, I really want Malcolm Gladwell to be on my show, and I want to meet him and shake his hand. But he is sharing that he is doing the Audible version first, and then the book comes out.
Yep. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
And he's got
Yeah.
a great voice for it too, because you enjoy his what do you call that? He's got a really nice dance or poetry.
Yeah. Yeah. He has a great pace, and
Yeah.
it's not quite sing-songy.
No.
It's the way I've heard some people describe kind of a cadence, but it's got a great pace and flow to it for him. But here's the thing. I mean, for someone who one of the reasons that Malcolm does that is he has this audio production team alongside of him that he has working for him that is outstanding. I mean, they are really, really good. And listen, I worked at the highest levels of radio as well. And I mean, I worked on a broadcast that in 2008 was inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame. We beat out Dr. Laura, we beat out Bob Costas, and we beat out the king of radio, Howard Stern. And then I left with that founder to go help start what became the largest rollout in radio history. So I've won major broadcasting awards. I know this business. Malcolm's team is really, really talented. But here's the thing. I mean, someone who is a prospective author can create a podcast if they're more of a verbal processor. They can create a podcast, rip those transcripts, throw them into ChatGPT, and start to build a book. And then work with someone like you, Ken, and get this thing put together, because ChatGPT AI has really opened the doors for so much. And this is one in particular that I think really has the potential to really just transform, to give people a chance to have their voices heard on in not only in an audiobook form, but also in a print book form.
So let's talk about investment. What give me the low budget one, and then give me where the pros are probably fitting. And I want to say something before you answer this, is that if someone's making $25,000 as a keynote speaker, doing an Audible is a no-brainer.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you're making 5,000 as a keynote, just to be clear, you're getting more people to digest your material that want to now work with you or hire you to speak. So go for it, Steve.
Yeah. So the way in which we work based on the total word count of the book and how much we estimate the length to be, because that's how long. We have estimates in there for how long an editor is going to take to do the edits, because when you're reading an audiobook, you're not doing it in one single pass. You're making mistakes. You're going back. You have a cough. You have a dog barking, whatever. And so, just a simple 30,000 word book, you're looking at about $1,500 to $1,600 investment,
which is very
for everything, for us to help get you set up. And by the way, I recommend your authors read their own book.
Right.
The only exceptions, the only exceptions, fiction. Sometimes an author can read their own fiction book because they're able to capture those characters with the inflections and their accent and all of that. And biographies. Biographies are the only other one that I would recommend. And I have heard more and more biography authors starting to read their own book. Like I just listened to David Moranis's book about, I believe it was Bo Jackson, and he read it himself, and he also read the Lombardi biography, which I have right up there. And
I'd love to get a list from you of, you and I can create this offline. I'd love to spend 30 minutes to an hour just seeing what 50, I would call the 50 book challenge. I'd call it the 50 Audible challenge, or, that would be fun to put together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if we have some of our authors qualifying for that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So
So
that,
so yeah, so a 30,000 word book, you're looking at about 15 to $1,600, and then obviously, 60,000 word book, you're looking at about $2,700.
so the way to kind of hack and take advantage of our Audible offering is take a word that's real simple and turn it into a very multi-syllable.
Yes, yes, you can totally do that. Yeah, pull
Yes.
out the thesaurus
Well, yeah,
and
Ed Caldwell wrote a book with me, and he taught me the English language. It was World Power, and he
yeah.
picked 300 words that you really should adopt and add into your lexicon, add into your business vocabulary, because it helps you communicate more clear, but it also lets people know that you are somewhat educated,
Yeah,
and that's going to be a great book to reference so that you get more bang for the buck with your service.
absolutely. Yeah.
Now, if you want to get lower rates on the editing, then of course shorten all your words to really really short words.
Or just pull words out. You just got to pull them out. Take those phrases and summarize them into a single word.
How easy is it to take the English? Because we haven't done this with you, and we haven't done this for any of our authors, but to move from an English Audible to it's like Spanish or French, is that something that can be AI'd across once it's done in English or not?
So Audible, ACX, the Audiobook Creation Exchange, which is where Audible pulls their library from. It's owned by Audible. Audible owns it. And some other book apps, they also will pull their library from ACX. ACX has a requirement: no AI shall be submitted. It needs to be a voice. And I worked on a chapter for a book that's going to be coming out sometime for you. Most people don't want to listen to AI.
No.
Now, some of them, there was a small percentage, and in fact, if I just take a moment and look back here in my files to see where those stats are, but one of the things that one of the things that they basically asked people, do you want to hear AI? And they gave them four answers. One was yes, one was a hard no, one was maybe, but I lean towards no, and maybe I lean towards yes.
Hmm.
Overwhelmingly, it was a vast percentage. People were in the no or lean towards no category.
Right.
In part, I believe, because AI still isn't there to really be able to capture the nuance of inflection, tone, pacing, humor, emotion, all of those kinds of things. They're not able to do, which again is one of the reasons why I recommend, if unless it's a biography and unless it's fiction, the author needs to read their own book, because Ken, you will bring way more emotion and energy and levity and a smile. And if something's really kind of pulling at your heartstrings, maybe a few tears,
Mm-hmm.
to a book of your own than I would as a narrator be able to capture. I mean, it's night and day different. And it's one of the reasons why a number of people I know, I mean, I've heard Joe Rogan say a whole bunch. I never listen to an audiobook unless it's read by the author.
Yeah, and there's idioms and slang and just things that I think would not fit an AI conversation with the reader. I mean, that is what the audible person that you are is doing. You're making a conversation feel like a conversation with the reader, and I don't think that's achieved it, to your point. So I'm excited about you bringing on other guests that we share how much of a difference their life was when they didn't have a book, then when they had a book and they married it with an Audible, and then they created like a marketing system that all put it together.
Yeah.
That's going to be hot. I do want to close with I know you're part of the team, and we're moving to a new customized email because we're getting a lot of people asking about Audible, and it'll be audio at Perfect Publishing, but right now it's book at Perfect Publishing, and you'll talk to Steve directly. Steve is happy to do a consult with you, give you a little deeper dive into what approach you should take, or what you could take, or what your options are. And I think he's doing some of our biggest clients versions, and he's helping them out. So I'm excited to work with all of you. And I have 60 books and I have yet. So I need to do my first one with you, Steve.
Yeah, we got to get that done. We got to get that done.
So we always close the show with 5 questions that kind of explain how someone could be a little more like Steve. So what book changed your life?
What book changed my life? I honestly think How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan.
Okay. What movie inspires you?
I just watched Lincoln by Steven Spielberg with my mom. She was with me for 2 months. It's so good. And
Oh,
Lincoln was an amazing human being.
yes. And I applaud you. You watched it on Lincoln's birthday, or did you watch it
No,
President's Day?
no, no. I just happened to
Just
buy
happened to.
it. I just
Okay.
happened to buy it. Mom and I were just sitting on the couch and I was like, "Did you ever see Lincoln by Steven Spielberg?" No, and we watched it. And
That's crazy because his birthday was
because
like last week.
I was the nerdy fourth grader that when my parents said, "Where do you want to go on vacation?" I said, "Springfield, Illinois, because I want to see Lincoln's home and tomb."
Yep. Carl Sandburg was there. He was part of a friend with Lincoln. I found out that Lincoln's birthday and Frederick Douglass' birthday is why they picked the beautiful month of February for Black History Month.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
See, I'll come up with some trivia for you, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think the audience knows this, and I guess we can disclose it before the show's over. But the reason he's wearing a hat is he wants everyone to think that he's bald underneath his hat. And so I just want to say thank you for making people think that we're brothers and that you're our hairstyle with the hat. That's pretty cool. Very smart of you. So our
Well,
last 3 questions: what song gets you going, or what group do you like?
Pink Floyd speaks to my soul. I had a high school teacher who every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we could listen to whatever we wanted. Friday was Floyd Friday, and he instilled a love of Pink Floyd that still is there to this day.
I have the big friggin' box set that's like $170 of every one of their albums. I mean, metal is like 23 minutes long. It's just they got the coolest.
Oh my God.
It's it's escapable, It's like,
Last night on YouTube, I saw a Gen Z music producer. This is the title. Gen Z music producer listens to Pink Floyd's The Wall for the first time. And it
oh,
was like, and it was really interesting to watch how he was trying to dissect what was being said, and but also talking about it from a production perspective, because I'm an audio production guy. I was really fascinated with the kinds of things that he was pointing out and listening to, and so
well, here's a bonus for you. I've never asked this question before, but it's
yeah.
appropriate for you. What's who's someone that you just love their voice? Who's a favorite voice of yours?
First one that comes to mind is James Earl Jones.
Yeah, everyone would
I
say
mean,
that.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, no
I mean,
kidding.
I know it sounds cliche, but I was the Star Wars nerd in elementary school. That as soon as I found out it was James Earl Jones that did Darth Vader and Mufasa
Well,
and all of these classic.
check out this voice. So Lloyd Cole, he's out of the UK. He's got a
Yeah,
really cool voice. He's a poet, and he sings just beautiful music. And then
yeah.
I like Bono. I just love Bono's voice too. All right, so well, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't realize that your voice singer.
Well, I'm saying
So
voice, just that whether
yeah,
where they sing, you
yeah,
just love their voice. They have like I
yeah,
think Bono's voice, whether he's speaking or in interviews or
yeah,
song, he's just
yeah,
got such a complex warmth to his voice.
yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah.
But you can go with a singer if you want.
Okay, for a singer, really, I don't think I really have one.
That's
That
cool. That's cool.
that
You don't need to.
yeah,
I just wanted a voice that you love, and
yeah,
James Earl Jones is certainly the Mac Daddy of voices. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay, and he used to stutter. That's the craziest thing.
Yes, yes,
I mean, what a transformation of someone that worked on their voice so much that became. I mean, Morgan Freeman has a great voice.
yes, he does.
I love how you. Yes, yes, he does.
Yes, yes, he does.
All right, final two questions. Who's your hero? It gets me choked up when I talk about my hero too.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad.
So I host a podcast called the Holy Smokes Podcast. And in it, we finish with three questions, one of which is if you could have a holy smoke, a cigar, with any three people throughout history, living or deceased, who would they be?
This really has you going.
Excuse me.
No, I can feel that when you have this, every guest of yours starts
Yeah.
coughing and hacking and lung. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a big question. So I get it.
So my three, and it's really hard for me to narrow it down to one, so I have to go with three. I'm really
Yeah.
sorry. I'm really sorry.
The rules are allowed to be broken on this show.
All right. Mark Twain, who was also a cigar guy.
Yes, he was.
Branch Rickey, the former general manager for the Dodgers who integrated baseball. Prior to that, he was the general manager for the St. Louis Cardinals, and I believe before that, the St. Louis Browns. So those two. And then you mentioned him earlier, Frederick Douglass. Absolutely. I read his listened to his biography on audiobook and got it from my library. So absolutely fascinating. And all three of them are cigar guys as well. So yeah,
I'll have to
those
check
three
him
are
out.
just
Mark Twain was one of my favorite quotes by him. Is he said, "Smoking's easy to quit. I've quit it 100 times." And then my favorite, my I have these gifts that I make, and
yeah,
they're usually typically completely mine, but I'm
yeah.
making a hybrid one with Mark Twain, and he doesn't know it, but I hope he likes looking down and saying, "Wow, he made it a little better." So Mark Twain says the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. I'm adding a third piece, so I'm going to put Mark Twain and Dr. Smiley.
Yeah.
When you take action on why.
Ooh. Yeah. My favorite quote for Mark Twain is suppose you have a moron and suppose you have a congressman, but I repeat myself.
Another one I like by Mark Twain is it's really strange. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So speaking of quotes, is there a quote you'd like to share that you live by?
It's one that I really created. I read Brendan Burchard's book, High Performance Habits, and in it he distilled his life down to three words. And I forget what his three are, but I went through the exercise and I distilled my who I am, what I'm most passionate about into three words: create, connect, and grow.
Beautiful. A wise man told me after many years of studying development, he says, there's really just three kinds of people in the world: those that can count and those that can't. All right, Steve Reiter, you're awesome. So glad we could end with a smile, and look forward
Thank you,
to
my man.
a lot of tones reaching the ears of people that said the book is too much, but I sure want to hear the author. So thank you for being an instrumental part. Pretty good on the instrumental part. Our Imperfect Publishing really showing up bigger and better.
Thanks, my man.
Thanks. See you later. And by the way, start making that list of the audibles. We're going to put a little audible challenge, and then the other one is let me know when you're ready to start bringing some guests on. I would love every week, if you want, to bring someone you've worked with that their life has changed because of you.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a great day.
You too.